live with a different video that's not bored by sleep, by a rant. Yes, you knew this was coming, so I might as well make a rant. So I clicked disclaimer. I'm gonna keep my head down most of the time because I have this paper and I have to fill this out. As the other questions, and pretty much have to answer pretty much all the pages. There might be 6 or 7 questions yet, so I have to fill them out within the best ability. So yeah, and also a cold one for the boys: IKEA's Dark Bubble, Apple, and Lingon. But that's not what about. So I guess you want some context of what this video is about before we even start with some rant or rapes. So in the beginning, when I went to a work readiness program in maybe Midtown Manhattan or something, one of my, I guess, counselors for the work readiness program, when the instructor told me what are my goals for the future, as in after the whole program ended, I said, now this was between me and the instructor. Now particularly when I state my goals, I usually want to become a photographer, a graphic designer, a game tester, and model, maybe dedicated to artistic style. But the main one that was so much focus is photography, because even though I'm an artist for over maybe a couple of years, I'm still kind of amateur, and photography seems to be a medium difficult job that, and the point being that I was able to usually pick photography as a bit choice. Well, apparently, according to her, or at least assuming it's a her, according to the instructor for the, let's say, this program, the person says that, and this is her words: I'm going to be straight with you. In order to take photography, you need to go to school and actually major in the course, and because your auto agency will actually tell you that it's actually kind of developed by state. And I was kind of skeptic because I'm pretty sure photography was actually a worldwide occupation, but I didn't really believe it to some degree. And I told the instructor, and this is what I say: damn, this is good. So what I said to the instructor, but what I say so far is that I'm mostly an expert. But what I say so far is that we live in a time period when anyone could just purchase a camera from Amazon or Best Buy and can build their own portfolios and make their own pictures. So that's the reason why I usually say that. A course response that we know that, but this is what the state wanted. This is how the state goes, how the state is run. And I figure, in my mind, listen, I don't give a rat's ass if the state wants me to go to school. I'm not going to go to school. And maybe this is how I remember. I don't even remember the details of what happened word by word, but this is what I said. So the point is that according to the person behind the program that's teaching us soft skills, ability, in order to get a job in photography, you have to go to school. Now, you know what type of school we're talking about. You usually have to spend 100 or 2,000 bucks into the admission fee, and then you have to spend 3 or maybe 2 years, depending on the school, own institute, and then you have to waste money, and you gotta hate photography because the way they have it is just so ludicrous. And part of the reason I'm usually a skeptic, and this is the whole reason behind this rant, is that you don't need school to be a photographer. Anyone who tells you you need to go to school in order to major in photography is a fool. There's other ways you can make it big for the photography. It's not an instant, it's a time-inducing process. But the huge benefit with photography is that as long as you have the right equipment, you could usually bypass and make decent money and make great influence. So the reason why I say going to school, the reason why I say that advice is so dumb, because let's be honest, in the year 2019, we live in an age where a lot of schools are too expensive to live. And when I say school, I am talking about universities, colleges, private colleges, institutions, all that type of shit that require you to pay maybe $4,000 and maybe shit ton of money in order to get in. And part of the reason that's dumb because let's assume you're unemployed. Let's assume that you are unemployed and you don't have any occupation or no job to pay for the classes. Let's be honest, nobody could usually pay for all the classes under the minimum wage. Even with FAFSA, it's not always possible for paid schools. So one of the reasons, and it's actually kind of dumb to even recommend that, because while you're saying, you're telling me I had to go to school when I had to spend $4,000 and had to waste my money going to school and have to regurgitate useless information, had to take boring I have to go to classes, have to waste maybe 3 or 5 hours, listen to a lecture by some guy or chick that doesn't want to be there and doesn't really do a better job. And even if I did take the class seriously, the only reward that I'm getting is a piece of paper that couldn't guarantee a job. So even if you did get a master's degree or college degree, it's not usually a guarantee for you to get a job. And that's the thing that we are in other states, and this is in New York City, mind you. And get a piece of paper. Oh, I usually pass it out. And get a piece of paper where I can, because that's the thing about school in colleges. Part of the problem with that mentality is that you're basically telling me that I should become broke. It's kind of stupid in a way that the thing you have to keep in mind is that nobody has that type of finances. We live in an age where nobody is able to afford to go to school that costs above $5,000 to even get to the admission. We live in an age where most of the residents in New York City, let's put it in context, this is New York City we're talking about, nobody in this day and age is able to pay for a overpriced college tuition. People cannot afford to pay $5,000, and it's stupid because you were there to tell me that I had to wait 3 years in New York City to go to school. I won't be here in 3 years. I'm going to leave. I'm not to where, you ask? I don't know, but I'm not going to stay in New York City because The biggest problem is that the real estate in New York City is becoming so high to the point, and it's not really possible to even live here when you have the rent going higher, and you have the real estate being so overpriced that it's really not affordable. And not to mention, you also have to deal with the other issues for paying the bills and have to usually deal with other issues. Why do you think I don't use credit cards? It's not because I'm usually cheap, it's just because I don't want to take any chances based on my credit. Because every real estate requires credit. And the fact I have to go to school to take photos, this is why I always believe that you don't need to go to school. And I said it once, I say it again, and I say it forever, I tell I repeat myself. But in the year 2019, you will never need to go to school if you have all this accessibility online. People can go to YouTube and actually just buy you and you got tutorials and how-to guides how to take photography in a simple ease. People can go to Best Buy, Target, freaking Walgreens, Macy's, all that brick and mortar store type of shit, and they can use it by yourself a Canon camera or buy something at Amazon. And the next step after you get all that equipment, you just need to be your own portfolio and makes you put a lot of effort. And does makes you just pass your ass and actually get a lot of connections. You have to have some right connections, get support, and take a couple workshops. So when the state told me that my goal for photography is unrealistic, without a college degree, I figure, well, what you're telling me is that you want me to waste money to go to school and not do anything. That's dumb. Even in the year 2019. And the thing about it is that you don't need school in order to become a master photographer. The way you make it through as a photographer, you have to put a lot of determination, put a lot of effort, so dedication, and never become lazy, never procrastinate, and makes you actually make a better portfolio and make your own business. Because I can tell you, you could make more money without a college degree. Because what would happen if you did go to school? You would never have an issue if you know how to be financially independent and start your own business. The reason why it's not impossible to find a job in photography, because there's always been a demand. It's not unrealistic. I mean, there's always been a demand for photography and always been a demand for graphic design. Because honestly, people need a lot of advertisement for magazines. People need a lot of photos for shit ton of commissions. A lot of first party agencies need a lot of commissions for let's say for a company, and they need to find a news photographer that way able to do the job right. So the thing you have to keep in mind is that it's not impossible to find. So pretty much, if you think about it, it's not hard to find a job in photography. It's time consuming, but with the right connections and the right people, you can usually make it through. Because let's be honest, there used to be a time, which I guess that you could consider unrealistic. There used to be a time when you ought to be a photographer, and let's assume it's 2001. In the year 2002, to become a photographer in 2001, you have to go to school, and it was 3 years. The whole process could take about maybe 365 days or maybe a couple hours. Depending on how difficult or how time consuming the whole assignment is, you will usually spend a lot of time studying and have to take a lot of photography. And because you get a lot of projects from the professional, you have to make sure you have to fare through. It might not be creative, it may be boring and mediocre, but you don't have much of a choice in that time period, because 99% of the time, YouTube did really exist in 2001. Google was still in the early age. It was actually very new. Google didn't really exist after 1997, and we didn't have Wikipedia until maybe 2005 or 7. And we didn't have WikiGuys until maybe 2014. So frankly, back in 2001, which I would assume, and pretty much if you want to become a photographer, I always have tendencies to pause. My apologies, but if you want to become a photographer in 2001, you have to go to school at least a couple of years. And this was post 9/11 type of shit. But in those days, to become a photographer, you have to usually pay a lot of courses. And that's assuming you survive after the Cold War. And this was usually the case because you either need to be born from a wealthy family or have a good paying job that would pay it. And remember, this was when FAFSA didn't really exist. There was no such thing as FAFSA. There was no such thing as college financial aid. In the only days, if you want to get into college, you have to pay for it or have to pay. And the problem with the thing about it is that not many people have a choice to find. You could just research or find YouTube videos. There was not many websites that could teach you how to become a photographer over time. It was not that simple to use. But fast forward to 2019, well maybe 2018, all the way to 2019, people were able to become a photographer without school. How so? Well, because YouTube is more advanced and more catered to the millennial demographic, most millennials or people in general are able to become a photographer based on guides you can find on YouTube. You get wiki guides, how-to guides, and you use Google. Now that Google is more advanced, people are able. And another thing about it is that you could actually go to workshops and find better connections in the photography field. So, this assuming in 2001 there was not many workshops. You still need to go to school. But nowadays you can just go to any workshop and find the right people and communicate. And the thing what makes it generation great is that you don't need to bust your ass off for a piece of paper that may not guarantee you a job in the first place. And this might apply to all occupations, but maybe photography. And one thing I hate about the whole going to school to get a degree, or maybe, is that I guess you try to, the only degree you need, the only career you need to measure that needs a college diploma or degree is nursing, because at least it's a life or death situation. But in photography, the fact that you could just take pictures about a camera, and it's really about the portfolio and what you put on a table. You could teach a monkey how to take a photo shoot, but it's what they put on the table that makes them more viable. And the idea of it is that once people find that easy accessibility, they don't need to go to school in order to become a master photographer. So that makes it kind of different. Because one thing I don't understand about is that people in the US are becoming more smarter as well with their own choices. They don't want to go to school. That or maybe the SJWs, but that's besides the point. But the only reason why nobody wants to go to college is, and people will disagree about it, is that you could bust your ass off and have all the money in the world, you still are going to be in debt once you finish school. Because the way it happens is that if you don't pay your student loans in before the due date, they are more obligated to jeopardize your credit at any given time. And that's worse because if you want to move to also in New York City, you need to have good credit, because a lot of real estate companies or organizations have the tendencies that if you want to file for a mortgage, you have good credit. And I never understand that concept, but I guess it has something to do with the state, but I wouldn't know. But that's usually what makes it worse. So part of the reason why most people don't want to go to school, because nobody has the money. And it's not as if you could expect people to pay a shit ton of money. They don't have that money, because when you live in New York City, most of the people in New York are just middle class Americans trying to survive with the overpriced rent. Now with AOC get an 18% tax rate, which I will rant later, you have a lot of people that can't afford. They can't choose. You make it difficult for people to choose between paying the rent or paying for school. And honestly, I would rather go to the military than going to school. Fuck it. With all due respect, but you can't tell people to go to school if you know damn well that can't usually afford it. And you all say, well, that's faster. They will pay for your school. Well, even if there was shit, even if FAFSA was available, it wouldn't be enough to pay it. Because with a real financial aid, the biggest problem is that you can't always expect people to usually pay it. And even if they did pay it, it's still good considered as a waste of money, because now that they actually finish school, they have to pay back their loans. And it's not as if you can expect people to run away about it and be done. It takes even years, or even 5 years, to pay back their loans. I see some dudes that have some difficulties paying their bills to some degree, and they manage to be in thousands upon thousands of dollars of debt. And death means death. And the only thing you need to understand about it is that people don't want to take that risk and take a liability to end itself in financial death. Why do you think that? The average student death crisis is so high to the point that a lot of people are taking certain notice. They become so woke to the point that, why should I go to school when I'm going to waste all my money to get myself a degree that won't mean shit in maybe 2 or 3 years later? And there will never be any hope, because a lot of the state officials are actually too much money off my sorry ass to pay for a school that I can't afford, that I was so stupid to go. And that's the thing. And the thing about that is that I never understand why you need to go to school to take pictures. It is so simple just to take pictures. You could buy equipment from Amazon, and we even age. And people
Interesting topic.
And trust me, I know people that don't go to school and they make comedians about medians. You know how it works in the US. The point is that people are starting to become more independent and not relying on school. People are starting to become more self-aware and not relying on school to get a career. Why does it take 3 years to get a career when you can just take 1 week later? I don't get it. But there's some people that still go to school, and it saddens me that we even at the age when people are wasting shit tons of money to get a piece of paper that may not mean shit in maybe a couple of years. So that's why it's kind of dumb. And if you really want to make it big in the photography scene, or start your own business of any occupation or any hobby, you need to pretty much have to be proactive and you have to pretty much hustle. May sound corny, but you need to hustle and put a lot of work into it. It's gotta be time consuming. It's not impossible, but you might as well start your own business rather than wasting all that money. And if you're opposed to that advise me that I should go to school, here's the question: why were you telling me to go to?
Did you skip English class?
Why do you tell me to go to school if I can't afford it? I just don't understand. So, the only saving grace that you have is that you have to be born from a rich family, entrepreneur, or some type of shit. I wouldn't even know. But your only best bet is to not go to school. And trust me when I say this, but if you go to school, and I know some of you people will disagree about me, but let me speak. If you go to school, you will have a greater difficulty paying back your student debt, because a lot of the students who go to schools are nothing but posers. You go to school to brag about. I guess I imagine we make a self-insult, but I guess I'm not going off topic. So part of the reasons why I say that, and you might be wondering, why do you say I'm an idiot if I say you should go to school to work in photography? Why is that considered as a bad thing? Well, you have to take a
So if you can't afford it, don't bother. Makes sense.
So reason why I say that, because one, you can't expect me to pay a overpriced tuition that I can't afford, along with textbooks that are so overpriced on a scam. And the thing that doesn't really make any sense is that this is 2019. Why do we still tell people to go to school, go to universities, go to the institution, when they can't even afford it? We already know it's a scam. A lot of schools in today's society, they only care about the money. Because the higher ups don't really care about the students. They care about the money.
I don't understand school either. Waste of money. Good advice if you had SHT for brains.
I never understand. And two, nobody can usually become successful. I guess my point is that if you want to make it big without school, I know you will go to school somehow. I know my advice would not be shit, but the thing about it is that you could go to school, but you waste your money. And I know you're not gonna listen to me. I'm saying I'm a fool for saying that, but it's not this. You gotta waste more money going to an institution that you can't afford. You gotta waste more money trying to pay it back that you already did guys rate, and the school is not gonna pay for you. I guess you can find a financial aid program that doesn't scam you out. You're shit out of luck. And it's kind of stupid because what you have to understand is that people are becoming more wiser. Any hipster could usually buy a camera. I'm not gonna spend maybe 3 or 4 years with my time in an institution when I can't pay jack shit. So pretty much with that's over. So how should I actually? Well, now on, you may ask, if I don't go to school, how do I make money without the support of school? Well, it's simple. To become successful, you need to understand success comes with work. You cannot become successful on day one. What y'all don't understand about it is that success, being your own enterprise, takes time and determination.
Don't troll this guy, Lou.
And you usually have to put a lot of effort and dedication into it. You don't make money just by making it ideal and just set it out of the blue. That's not how it works. To make it big in the US, you have to usually put a lot of determination and work hard. No, work smart. That's what I should say. And you have to usually put a lot of effort to this to some degree, because if you're not proactive, if you're lazy, if you don't put a lot of work, then you won't be able to become successful in the US. And that's what most people fail to understand about it, is that we live in an age where nobody really takes the time to usually have. And the thing about it is that if you go to school, you gotta be in depth. But if you don't go to school, you have to be proactive. And yes, you could get a job with a high school diploma, but some of the jobs that I don't have a high school diploma are so dead end, and so small and tedious. And it's not because photography is competitive. I don't believe that. It's that pretty much fast pace orientated. Because the thing about it is that you can't always depend on school to anything. And what do you mean this? You already did waste the entire year in high school, 4 years in high school, to get a high school diploma that may not that has no value, but to the states and the state officials, to the law,
thanks, Lou,
it does mean shit. And the thing about high school is that once you finish it, you don't even know what the fuck you're going to. You go work hard to get a high school diploma, but what a lot of high school teachers and the other high school staffs don't teach you about is that they never teach you what will happen afterwards.
Thanks for what?
And what you have to understand about it is that the only thing you have to consider is that
for not trolling here.
And what you have to understand about it is that there will be some times where you need to pretty much have to set your own path and not depend on institution. Because why should you waste 4 years again to go to institution when you already did waste another 4 years already getting another piece of paper, try to make assignments, write essays, take region exams, and take a lot of tests, and for what? To get another piece of paper that won't mean shit. And this is the thing that doesn't make any sense, but apparently this is the mindset that people have. But if you even bother making that same mistake, I don't have any empathy if you have. So I always pause. I don't even know why. Anyhow,
show us some of your photography work.
I don't even know what I'm doing. Or anyhow, so my point. So I don't even know what to say. The point is that if you wanted to save money, don't go to school, and thus forge your own path. You might be saying, well, that's a bad idea. How am I supposed to forge my own path if I don't have the resources? Well, it's simple. You are the resources. You are the resource. You just need to get off your sorry ass and stop procrastinating. Because you will not make it in the US if you sit around on your sorry ass and not do anything but bullshit. That's the truth. Because what a lot of advice columnists, a lot of internships don't tell you about is that if you really want to become more successful and move to the higher status in life, you have to be willing to put a lot of dedication. And I say this a lot, and I may repeat myself, but it's the truth. You can't get anywhere, and we all know you need high school diploma, that's true, but that's only 50% of it. The other 50% requires you to put a lot of effort, not bullshit, and actually put a lot of dedication. Do something that you actually love. Do something that will make you happy. I know that sounds mediocre, but let's be honest. You won't believe how many people are usually depressed, so pissed, and so depressed to some degree that they actually hate their jobs. There are so many people in this world, in this country, that hate their jobs to some degree that they don't usually want to work there.
Wait there, say that again.
And the thing about it is that if you really want to make a dumb decision that will put you in debt with bad credit, go ahead. I can't stop you. But if you want to be wise with your time and actually save money and time, then you need to use your own business and actually become proactive. Because nobody's gonna be more proactive than you. That's the truth. And the truth of the matter is that we live at an age when America doesn't really care about its citizens. I usually think it's the Democrats, but that's off topic. But the point is that if you really want to become successful, you have to start following what other people are following. Don't follow other people's path to go into colleges. Just you worry about yourself. Because I would tell you, there are some people that don't usually have a life. They work 9 to 5, making bullshit money, and you got people that only make 50 bucks minimum wage and not only anything. So what you gotta understand about it is that it comes to the point where it's not always possible.
Z's.
And the thing about it is that you should never be pressured to go to school. You should always force your own path and never be pressured to go to school. I usually repeat myself.
The guy has some knowledge learned from it, Lou.
And that's about also force your own path, don't follow what other people are doing, and usually does be independent. But you have to put in the work and put in the determination. And I had to say this because I think so many people are going to college debt and not be able to pay their student loans. So frankly, with all due respect, but I think it's actually kind of waste of time. And it's so suddenly that you need to spend 4 years to go to school to take pictures that are so easy to take that even a 10th grade or a 7th grade or KUC does take pictures. So that's about it. I'm pretty much done with the paperwork, but sure. So in conclusion, don't go to school and waste shit tons of money that you can't afford. Always follow your own path and start your own business. And when you start your own business, you have to make sure you put a lot of effort, never half-ass it, and make sure you actually put a lot of effort, and make sure you actually have a backup plan for the future. Because I've seen so many students that go out of high school and they have no idea what the fuck they're doing but to go to school, or even if they finish school, they don't know shit. So what it saddens me is that if you want to become a photographer, you have to waste a lot of money, because the state says so. Well, I say, forget the state. I don't understand why, but they don't seem to get with the times. We're even at the age when you don't need to have that type of money to become successful. You don't need to go to school. You don't need to waste money to make money, when consider the fact there's other ways to make money. We have PayPal, Patreon, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and all that type of stuff, and freaking Bitcoin. You telling me there's no other way? I picked the devil. But that's about it. I just want to make this rant because it's such a train of thought. That's my opinion of why I think why it's so stupid to waste money to go to school, and vice versa, but I got nothing else to say. In the meantime, I'm going